I'm sitting here on Off the Edge, the podcast, with the man that needs no introduction, a former NFL MVP, a man who can still sling the rock, and we know he can do it if he gets a chance to do it. Yeah. Somebody who's been a Pro Bowler, All-Pro, NFL MVP, should have been, is the number one draft pick of the most elite draft class to ever have been in existence in the 2011 draft class. Yes. From a Cam to a Cam in a draft that had 3 Cams. We're just missing the other one. It was a Cam trifecta at the time, and here we are, a Cam duo with Cam Newton, the man, the legend himself, Mr. Iconic, Mr. Game Changer to Game Manager at the most relevant time of our NFL experiences.
Listen.
What else can I say that you don't speak for yourself?
We can say that we can enjoy each other's company now.
I've always enjoyed your company.
No, I didn't enjoy yours. You see what I'm saying?
Meant to be a troll.
I think for you, bro, and I was having this conversation with Matt Ryan yesterday. Tell me a more competitive division.
Right.
During that 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17 NFC South.
There wasn't. How could there have been? You felt animosity at every level.
Out of 8 games a year, that's half your schedule.
Right.
The Saints coming.
Yeah, not even locked in. Oh, it's blood in the water.
It's like, bro, tighten your shit up because Roman Harper, petty king.
Woo.
Jinx, petty king. All that pettiness. Also to mention, don't. I said, oh my God, it's just, bro.
Yeah.
It was one of those times where it's like, bro, you got to tighten your shit up because not only are they gritty, they have that continuity that a lot of teams miss. When I think about great defenses, it's hard not to mention you guys' kind of reign in that stint compared to the Baltimore Ravens, compared to the 49ers at that particular point in time. It was just at a unit that thrived opportunistic and was able to create pressure with just a 4-man rush.
Man, and it was a time to be had.
To be had.
There was times there was a touchdown I think you had in the end zone in the Superdome. Yeah. You did the patented open up the chest, shoulder, open up the Superman vibes, and I was like, man. And you low-key passed by me and had brushed me, and I was like, this brush can't happen. So I was like, I bumped you, made sure it wasn't a brush, it was a bump. And you looked at me and turned around and he did one of these, and my guy Curtis Lofton went up to push you. Next thing you know,
Big Swole, Brandon Williams.
Yeah,
Brandon Williams
went to go push Curtis Lofton. I saw him go after it.
And I found myself in the back of the end zone.
It's 30 people fighting.
Through the end zone.
30 people fighting. Next thing you know, I went to grab Mike Tolbert, and you can't grab Mike Tolbert. He's my weight at 5'7".
Me. Yeah, he's a tree stump. He's a fire hydrant.
And so next thing you know, we're out here sprawled out fighting in the back end zone. It's times like that you really enjoy the rivalry, and that's what makes it feel like a rivalry.
The thing, I know our rivalry was one to kind of consider, but being from Atlanta, I don't think that there's a better rivalry than Atlanta and New Orleans.
Absolutely.
No, that's
I hate them. Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's deeper than football in that thing. Because when Katrina hit, a lot of New Orleans natives came to Atlanta.
Yeah.
So that type of connectivity back to the city of New Orleans and Atlanta, that merger, and to have a football game, that's where it was a little kind of different. And I only know that because I'm a native of Atlanta and seeing that type of energy in the city for that particular time. Man,
that energy alone just makes you want to be a villain towards Atlanta.
Yeah.
And it just our division alone made me want to be a villain towards you because you were a menace towards everybody else. You warm up on other people's sidelines. I'm just looking, I was like everything about him, you had to go after him. And so that being said, now you're I'm in the podcast world. You've clearly got your podcast.
Yeah.
Is that a rivalry hood? You've got
never.
That's your podcast. Tell me more about it because you sit down with the cigar. You got the lounge. You're.
That's the only thing I'm missing right now. I mean, I got it close by. It's just being authentic to who I am.
Yeah.
I think for my whole career, a lot of people have always had the question: is Cam Newton real? Is this a energy that what is he? We're not used to seeing this type of energy on the field. Folks aren't able to see a quarterback play and have fun and dance and jump around and like, is that real? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, we can't. So I've always had to protect, my sanity, but also protect what I was playing for: franchises, brands, players, coaches. And now in podcasting, it's like, I don't give a damn. Like, let's like, what Drake say? Bring on the problems. Bring on the problems. Bring on the motherfucker. Like,
absolutely.
It's like one of them things that, and I enjoy it, bro. And I think
it's not that you haven't been you.
Yeah.
Now you just uncut.
Yeah. It's like when you're in this position, I'm able to tell these type of stories, in an unfiltered way, not to protect anybody's image. Anybody who knows me know, like, I still keep the bro code.
Absolutely.
But I'm able to tell it more like uncut in a way that's like, I could tell that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just had, a conversation with Greg Olsen, bro, and we just talking about certain things, and it's like, damn, dog, like, I missed that.
Absolutely.
And they asked me, like, yo, bro, are you coming back? I don't know.
Right.
Like, I'm different. Like, I'm a family man now. You know what I'm saying? I got children. I got kids that expected me to be home when they come back from school. And
well, it can't be a rivalry because you know what we're going to do? I'm just going to shoot over to your podcast and we're going to continue this joint. So if you want part 2 to this part 1, check me out at Off the Edge Podcast. Part 2 of the Cams.
The Cam apostrophe S.
Check me out. Appreciate you, broski.
Yes, sir.
Here we are, my podcast, Off the Edge, with me, your host, Cam Jordan. And it feels like a variety show because I get to see all these legends and media row at the Super Bowl. And I'm sitting here with a future Hall of Famer, a man who played 20 years in the league between the Cincinnati Bengals. Some people call them Bengals. I call them Bengals. And the Los Angeles Rams, winning a Super Bowl with them. And then walking off in style after the win with the Super Bowl and the babies, had the kids there, sitting there like, my work is complete.
Done.
Andrew Whitworth.
What up, baby?
Man, I appreciate you tapping in.
Man, happy to be here, bro. What a week, man. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, as a watch guy myself, I look down at the panorama. I'm like, I like it.
Yeah, come on, man.
But no,
that's what you got to do when you're a big fella. You got to have a couple accessories, because everybody see you like, God, this dude's huge. And, you need a little something to kind of,
Yeah, a little accoutrements, if you will. But sitting here, you started off in Louisiana, so we have our Louisiana connects here. You're living out in Los Angeles, a place that I hope to one day get to. But the tax bracket, the way the taxes work, I'm going to be right there in Arizona.
Yeah, I understand that.
But you're here Media Week, clearly went to NFL honors. Do you still enjoy going to the honor shows?
Well, I got to say, first off, unbelievable last night. That was so good. What a skit. I imagine they had to kind of like let you know that was going on, and there might have been a little like, we doing what?
Man.
But that was cool. That was good.
And that's exactly what happened. They were like, Cam, you're going to present this award? I said, dope. Kirk Cousins going to be with you? Great. Hey, we got a little something special for you. Awesome. 24 hours before, hey, rehearsal, we got these dance moves.
Excuse me?
I know how to pass rush. All right.
No, I thought it was awesome, dude. I actually thought it was probably one of the best honors I've seen. I thought really the whole show was awesome.
Cirque du
Entertaining.
Soleil started off.
Yeah, I mean, it's Vegas, so yeah, it is. It's easy to kind of pull some of that off, but gosh, it was great, I thought.
Man, it's awesome, especially when you talk about you being a Walter Payton Man of the Year winner a couple years back, a guy like Cam Hayward winning last night. Just tell me about what it means to win, because, I mean, I've been nominated 3 times, but as a winner, does it change the perspective? Does it change the perception of?
I don't think so. I think what's cool, and I think sometimes, you think about those awards, we talk about the winner, and, obviously Cam Hayward, unbelievably deserving, a tremendous human being. I've had a chance with Thursday Night Football now to have them a couple years in a row and get to kind of tell his story and things that he does in the community. But I think also, to me, we get lost in those other 31. And it's like, man, all those guys are doing such amazing stuff. And I think that's one of the coolest parts of this league. And one of the rarest things I think about our business is that I don't know how many businesses in the world that the people who are benefiting from that business also are spending so much of their time investing all that back into the communities they play in, the communities they came from. I just think there's such a spirit of pay it forward in our league that I just think is really cool, that people feel that vibe from these players when they come to these shows. These guys love what they do. They have a passion to be great at it, but they also have a passion for everyone else that they can help achieve those dreams that they want as well.
Absolutely. I always think about, like, just the highlight you're putting. You're like, I didn't even know he did that type of work. Like, how many guys are going out their way to give their time, effort, the beyond just money, but just the ability to give back to the community, for raise awareness for their causes. And I mean, if I'm like, yo, as much as I do, I feel like I'm always re-inspired.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I got to do more. I was like, it's sort of like a competitive to give back mode. It's like,
yeah, it is. I think this. Like when you get nominated, you see the other guys that get nominated, and you go read what they're doing. And you're like, dang, I need to get on it.
All I'm doing is giving up the Tuesdays, or all I'm doing is like becomes a.
I always felt challenged. Like, all right, I can do more. Like every time, and I think that's the cool nature of our league. Is it doesn't matter if we're competing on the field for wins, or we're out there saying, hey, how can we affect the community and make a difference for people around us? Let's be the best at it. And I think that's a nature and a vibe and a culture that we've started, and that award, and obviously Walter Payton set the precedent for all of us. That is a great thing for our league.
Absolutely. Well, tuning this back to football, wrapping up the award show. But what do we, there was a record number of sacks that happened this year. And as a defensive lineman, I love it. And as after the season I had, I hated it because, I got injured week 11 and it was just a run stopper this year. And it hurt my feelings. I was like, they're letting go sacks. And here we are. What do you think as an offensive lineman, like how did that come about? Is it timing from quarterbacks? Is it the lack of technique because offensive linemen are getting fatter and slower?
I think that there's a mixture of reasons, but I think one of the things that's affected the game too is that you could see the drop back game, living in the shotgun world.
Right.
I think this as a rusher. It's a much different world when he's under center, and you kind of got to think there might be a combination of things that could happen on a play. And when they're going to be sitting back there at 8 yards and it every single play, it kind of gives you an opportunity to say, hey, I know where he's going to be, and I know what I got to do to get there. And so I think there's the nature of that's changing. And then also you look at it, really the true pocket passing quarterbacks. Like there's just not as many that are just going to sit there and stay there. There's a lot of guys running around now, moving. They're being encouraged to, hey, I don't know what coverage it is.
But you also don't know where your guy is because you're
Yeah, and the quarterbacks are moving. So those ball in their hand longer always leads to more sacks. So I think that we're going to see that. But I think eventually, you're going to see a turn because obviously it's been a point of emphasis, improving offensive line play. And I talked to Roger Goodell actually a few weeks ago about how do we continue to make that an emphasis because it's just a challenge. You look at youth sports, always say, let's go back to where it starts.
Right.
Everything's kind of flagged now. A lot of guys are being pushed, so less contact, less hitting. So you're taking away really developing linemen at a young age.
Right.
And then college football, that game's completely changed. They don't block any of the plays that they're going to block in NFL football and college football anymore. And then in the pro game, we've taken away their off seasons. We've kind of taken away a lot of that time in camp and those hitting days that they got to train to be a lineman because it's just a different position. And so I think that you really look at it on the back end and the front end, we've kind of taken a lot of the reps that develop these guys to be who they are. And so that's the challenge. And I think we got to find ways we can improve there.
Yeah. It takes 1,000 hours to master a craft. And now you're working with 500 from even the time I got into the league.
And think about it, obviously, offensive linemen are not the best athlete on the field, but when we start talking about pound for pound, moving bodies like that, who they are, it's one of the rarest positions in the world because it's the only one where you play with your back to the ball. You are literally basing off of what you hope is happening behind you and playing a position. So it's awkward to learn. So it takes time to understand the body positions and really the feel that you've got to know without ever being able to see what's happening behind you. The nuances
to the game.
Yeah.
Man, I can hear you.
He's getting. Look at it. I got him. He's swaying. He's kind of got a little soft spot right now. He's like, dang, O-lineman.
No. See, as much of a chagrin as I have against an offensive lineman, it's because I started off that way. Nobody wants to be an offensive lineman. Started off small ball as a linebacker, safety, and then got to high school and was offensive lineman. No.
Yep. I do it with my youth kids, my kids team. I coach my kids. Every kid on the team, I'm like, listen, you guys don't want to play O-line. Y'all got to go find some bigger kids because whoever you are that's the biggest, you're playing O-line. That's just what it is.
And so, once I had my chance, I was like, D-line, and I'm never coming back.
Yep. 100%.
But just beyond that, beyond the offensive line play and even, the amount of sacks that happened this year because I was excited about it. Just think about the rules that are affecting this game. We talk about the time that's affected the game, the rules that are affecting this game. The line judge being behind the offensive line. So now it seems like, offensive linemen are clearly getting away with jumping off sides. And we're not going to say there's an offensive tackle on a Super Bowl contending team that leads the charge in that. But there's the way the game is evolving and the rules. How is it affecting guys being coached and is it affecting technique?
Yeah, I think you look at it. There's obviously some big ones that are coming up this offseason. I mean, defensively, the hip drop tackle stuff. You know, we're talking about the line of scrimmage after the Kadarius Toney play, and really even on the other side with Juwan Taylor in the right tackle and his depth that he sits in his stance at. I mean,
depth is crazy that
blows
nobody
me
talks
away.
about. I'm like, he's not even like you used to have to be within what is the hip length of the center. These guys are out here like a flying V formation.
They are, and it's blowing me away because throughout my career, it was always like first series of the game, I'm annoyed the guys coming over telling me like, make sure you scoot up, and it's just blowing me away that they've been able to get away with it. Like we've kind of eliminated what that real line is anymore. And so I think there's some things that need to get fixed, but also like we can't just continue to say we're going to keep taking things out of the game and taking hits out of the game. And it's just like as a player, you're like, man, I am so confused how you want me to even possibly play the game.
Right.
I can't imagine being a defender right now and saying like, what exactly is my strike zone? Now not only do I not have a strike zone, now you're going to tell me how I can fall and how I can dictate how I drop on a tackle. Like, just to me, it makes zero sense. It's like, I don't know how you think. And I think that's the problem maybe. I don't know. I think they think you're thinking while you're doing these things. It's like you're playing a game like an animal. You're a tiger trying to get your prey on the ground.
Right.
Like there's no thinking going into this. So now I got to process while I'm trying to tackle somebody.
I'm about to hit a quarterback. But is it within 2 steps of him releasing the ball? Oh, I've got to hit a quarterback. And as I'm smacking him with all my force, before he hits the ground, let me turn and then give myself an AC sprain so this quarterback's okay.
Yeah, my general rule of thumb
clear.
is like, I want to see egregious things called. Outside of that, like if it's debatable, like I don't want, if it's debatable, let's not call it.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
That's literally like how I've always felt about rules. Like, let him play. Now, if it's one of those like, all right, sit your butt down. Like that's a flag. If it's one of those like, was he in the gray area? If you don't let that play and let us have fun,
100%.
Come on, make it fun again. But anyways, I appreciate you, bro. Just, with your legacy intact, you playing 20 years, you've seen a lot of things come and go. You retire and what is it, 2 years out? It's 2 years. It's 2 years now. Sheesh. The end of the era of the Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll situation.
I know.
Like an end of an era. And like, how does that even sit right? Like, does it feel weird to know Bill Belichick? Like,
yeah, I think it's wild to think
Coaches?
about. We go into next fall and there's no Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, and even Nick Saban. I think like you just kind of like in your mind, you think of college football, you think of pro football. You're like, all right, I'm going to see something about Nick Saban this fall. I'm going to see something about Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll. Like, it just it's wild to think that next fall you're going to enter that world, and it's unbelievable because. Obviously, people could say whatever they want about the time when Tom's been gone. Whatever. Bill Belichick's one of the greatest coaches that's ever coached in the NFL. Period. That's it. And then, Pete Carroll, his legacy is unbelievable. I mean, talking about a guy, not just an unbelievable coach, but could rally a football team in a time where you're like, man, the Seattle Seahawks are done. They got no chance. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, we're playing the best team in the NFL when you walk out there. And it's something magical he was able to do to create this spirit with his football team. And then obviously Nick Saban, I was his first recruiting class at LSU. Got a chance to play for him there, won a national championship. Way back. So to watch him walk away, man, always like one of the guys who had the biggest influence on me in my entire life. And Bill used to always come to our facility in the off seasons when I was in college there. Just being around those two guys, rare coaches, man. And I know a lot of influence on who I am.
No doubt. Well, I appreciate you tapping in. I ain't going to hold you up too much longer. I feel like today's podcast is like a variety show. We got a lot of greats, a lot of legends going through, and I'm so happy that you were able to find some time to sit down with the kid on Off the Edge, the podcast.
Appreciate it, man. You're an absolute legend yourself, man. One of the most unbelievable careers on the edge of anybody. And even right now at this point in your career, always getting doubled, always the attention on the O-line. You got to keep getting somebody else over there so they take some of that heat off of you all the time, man.
Look, I got Carl Granderson. We just drafted a kid, Brian Brzee.
We need him to keep coming.
I need one more,
give this man some help.
One more crazy D tackle. Like,
that's what you need.
I'm over here pulling.
Make that guard have to stay in there just a little bit longer. Just a little bit. He don't need a lot. Just a little bit of time.
One tick.
That's it.
I appreciate you, my guy.
Right, yep. Appreciate you.